Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it is time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web, so we reach you and we communicate with you in different parts of the globe. Of course, from our beautiful federation of two lovely islands and one paradise, my Straight Talk family. And so I'm duty bound to say a good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. I can say good night to the entire Caribbean region. And like I said, I say good night to the world, because we are communicating with you, as I said, throughout the Kittitian and Division and Caribbean diaspora. Some of you are in Africa. There are some of you in Asia. There are some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and I can also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings is applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And we welcome all, and in particular we welcome the first-timers, and we thank all of you who continue to share the link. When you do so, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, just to let you know that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expression on all issues of interest: legal, environmental, technological, social, economic, and of course, many of you like the political issues. But on this program, we try to raise the level of consciousness, national, regional, and international consciousness. On this program, we try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. And for the first timers, I want to let you know as well, we do not promote sensationalism. We do not promote anything except the truth. We are guided by the rules of truthfulness and the plain truth. And for tonight, we normally have our observations in review. We are going to forego those observations. Guess why? Because we have a special guest with us tonight, and he will be with us for just about the first hour. He has a right to refuse. We'll hear him. Our guest tonight is our former Premier of Nevis, Joseph Walcott Parry. And tonight, I asked the question, why for decades the issue of Nevis's fair share is unresolved? He's been there, and I'm sure he'll have his own perspective as to why, well, the revenue sharing framework after all these decades have not been working. And I believe I will say no more except to invite my special guest for tonight, who is, as I just said, Joseph Walcott Parry, former Premier of Nevis and a former Minister of Tourism, Federal Minister of Tourism, I may add. And we welcome Mr. Parry and say good night to you, sir. How are you?
Good night, Ian. I'm very good. And I'm happy to be in your program tonight and to be able to speak to your listeners all over the world.
And I'm happy you're here too. And I'm happy you said Ian, because I wanted to establish the protocol here. You can call me Ian. Some people call me Patches. Should I say Joe? What should I say?
You can say Joe, you can say anything. We are family here.
I can say cuz too, right?
That's right. Let's keep that
yes. Yes, okay. But Joe Parry, we've been here for some time, and we've been always hearing about this, not necessarily fair share, but we've been hearing about revenue sharing. And I believe that it would be fair to say, I've heard it, that once Sim Daniel or the late Sir Simeon Daniel came to office in Nevis, he made certain there were three things. He made certain that Nevis had its own government, and that's, I think, in the Constitution under Section 102, I believe, the Nevis Island Administration, as it is called. It has its own legislative assembly. He also made sure that in the Constitution 110, there was provisions made for the sharing of revenue. And of course, he also made certain that 113 was part of the Constitution, so Nevis could get their independence. But looking at the revenue in particular tonight, and the framework for sharing of revenue, which has spanned, I believe, 4 premiers: Sim Daniel, Vance Amory, Joe Parry, and the current Premier in office, Brantley, and 4 prime ministers as well. So Kennedy Simmons, Denzel Douglas, Timothy Harris, and the current prime minister. So what it is that still needs to be done to get a resolution as it relates to revenue sharing between both islands, from your perspective?
Well, first of all, Ian, I want to take you and the listeners right back to 1983. The Constitution provided for a Nevis Island administration, but there was no provision for the administration to start with any money. That in itself was rather strange. Mr. Daniel, being the Minister of Finance in St. Kitts, was able to take $250,000 from the National Bank, the branch in Nevis, to start the administration. Can you imagine a situation like that? The second thing is this: the state of Nevis as against the state of St. Kitts. Electricity, water, roads, no industry, really an agrarian society. Again, no provision was taken into consideration for that. All that was done was that the revenue should be divided on the basis of population. To my mind, that was very unfair. And it is not surprising that the Four Seasons opened in 1991, February, I think. And by 1992, instead of Nevis getting revenue from St. Kitts to run its affairs, the Treasury in Nevis was supposed to send money to St. Kitts after reconciliation. That did not make a lot of sense to me. That did not make a lot of sense to Mr. Daniel. And I suppose it did not make a lot of sense to Mr. Hamry. I would say this, that I have to up to a point, blame the Nevis side of, in the constitutional talks, because they should have argued or should have negotiated for a fairer situation, financial situation. Either the government in St. Kitts would give consideration to upgrading the infrastructure in Nevis from a financial point of view, or, and maybe more reasonably, that in terms of loans and grants, that Nevis be given more than 1/3 or whatever the proportion was to increase its infrastructure. The British government did indeed provide generators. There were some projects for water and a few projects for road, but that really did not solve the problem. In fact, part of the debt that we have today in Nevis is because several administrations had to take loans to improve the infrastructure. Because without a certain level of infrastructure, you cannot attract investment. And so money was spent on the road development. Money was spent on water development. Money was spent on electricity development and various other areas to bring Nevis to the state where it is today. That is a burden that the people of Nevis have to carry, which I think should not have happened and should have been dealt with earlier clock. So from the very beginning, there was a problem. Now, in terms of the arrangement, I know that somewhere in this discussion, the thought might come up about taxable revenue and non-taxable revenue. And let me say, at the very beginning, there was a reluctance on the part of St. Kitts to have certain items in the common pool. For example, they were government owned and they were revenue bearing. And I don't think that the St. Kitts side of the coalition wanted to share those monies with Nevis. And so, in the end, Mr. Daniel formed the Nevis Housing and Land Corporation.
But before we go there, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Joe Parry here. But before we go to there. We'll get there sooner rather than later. But the you mentioned that at one time Nevis would have had to pay monies into the treasury in St. Kitts. Am I correct?
Yes.
So, I thought the whole idea behind revenue sharing, right? Unless you put, are you trying to suggest? Are you suggesting here that at no time, even though they agreed to share the revenue based on the population, right, and based on the common services and other things, as outlined in the Constitution, it was never expected that Nevis at some time would pay? What would be wrong if Nevis had to pay once we've done all the calculations?
I would answer you this way, Ian. Of course, over time, if the economy in Nevis grew at a faster rate than the economy in St. Kitts, that would have been expected. But the economy in Nevis was still rather flat. There was no serious growth. And that would have been an unnecessary burden to be paying funds to St. Kitts when you need those funds over here to continue the development that I outlined earlier.
Okay.
So at the very start, there was a problem.
Okay, so then going back now to where you actually started heading, the issues as we speak right now seem to surround the Constitution as it stipulates tax revenues and not non-tax revenues. I am of the view that they are both economic classifications. But you're saying even the non-tax revenues, even in your time. Okay, you mentioned Sim Daniel, you mentioned Vance to an extent, but when you, Joe Parry, was Premier Nevis, there was the CBI still existed, the SID. What transpired then, and what did you crave for?
Okay, we got into government in 2006. And unfortunately, in a very short time, we faced two major problems. The Hurricane Omar, and the fact that the Four Seasons was bankrupt. A lot of people do not know that the Four Seasons was bankrupt in 2008. In fact, Hurricane Omar was the blessing in disguise. And so between, let us say between 2007, 2008 to 2010, we were so busy trying to keep the economy afloat, so busy trying to ensure that the Four Seasons was restored to its old state, that we had very little opportunity to think about anything else. I'm sure that a lot of people would know that the owners of the Four Seasons at the time wanted to abandon the name of Four Seasons and have another chain in charge. And in the end, they walked away and left the hotel in the hands of the Four Seasons. They were able to use the insurance from the hurricane to restore the hotel and to eventually sell it. So that was our preoccupation at that time. Now, you may say that is not an excuse. The other thing is the citizenship program became popular around 2006. It was about 2008 or 9 that we in Nevis became fully aware of the importance of the citizenship program. In fact, dare I say, we were tipped off by the people who operated in St. Kitts. And I started the discussions with Prime Minister Douglas. In fact, initially, I think he would have liked to say to me that it was a St. Kitts matter, a St. Kitts project, a St. Kitts initiative. And that is true, it wasn't a St. Kitts initiative, but the citizenship program is the citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis, and there's no way anyone could get around that. In terms of fair share, as far as that is concerned, Ian, I see that on a population basis. I don't see it any other way. I do not know how much money was raised. I do not know what the revenue was. I would have hoped that Nevis got its fair share. I do not know that. Certainly, when I was in government between 2006 and 2013, we did not get much of that revenue. Some revenue was given to us to help to develop NEPAC, and one or two small projects, and once or twice in terms of payment of wages. But there was no formal agreement and formal arrangement. And while the Prime Minister promised me that we would seek to come to some conclusion after the election, well, after the election, we were in the opposition and could no longer.
No, Joe, getting back to Sir Sim Daniels' time and the money started to flow in Nevis from the offshore financial services, am I correct? And Four Seasons? Both. No.
Really produce a lot of revenue.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yes, continue, sorry.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, I think I made the point that it was the Four Seasons that caused revenue.
Four Seasons.
Yes.
Okay, but there's sometime before 1992, though. I have information here, I didn't queue it up in time, where the late Sim Daniel was saying that when the NIA sent their checks to St. Kitts, the checks weren't processed. Are you aware of that? So there were issues even at that time.
I am not aware. I'm not aware of it. I sense he might be talking about a matter that led to, I wouldn't say a fallout, but an embarrassment around 1984. What happened is that the Nevis Island administration was under tremendous pressure to increase the wages of non-establishment workers. I think the administration in St. Kitts had the same challenges. But ours was so acute that Mr. Daniel increased the wages of non-established workers by a small amount. And the cabinet in St. Kitts became very angry and did not honor certain checks that Nevis had to pay. For example, we were not able to pay wages 1 or 2 months in 1984. And it was a terrible embarrassment for the Nevis Island administration and for people who had a problem with the Nevis Island administration. In fact, I would say this, that when Mr. Amory became Premier and he was the Secretary of the occupation, was to ensure that he had enough money to pay wages so that slight or that embarrassment did not follow him as well. So it could be very, very well that Mr. Daniel was talking about, because it was very embarrassing for him. He was a member of the federal government. He was the Premier of Nevis, and the checks on Nevis bounced.
So the checks bounced on 2 occasions that you seem to be suggesting. Now, in going forward to, and I will go beyond but fair share though, as we know it now, really came about, we can say, from 2015. Am I correct?
The expression fair share, yes. Mm-hmm. We never used that expression between 1980 and 1992. And certainly Mr. Amory did not use it either. Mm-hmm. Something that came from Mr. Brantley.
Mm-hmm. So what is your view in terms of, would this be resolved any time?
It has. Do you think so? And I am not sure what the World Bank has suggested, because that has never been made public, and neither the Premier nor the Prime Minister has said enough for me to have an opinion. But certainly, you cannot continue 2 administrations or a federal government to the Nevis Island government and have this wrangling taking place. And apart from that, it provides a kind of advantage to certain politicians or political parties who try to exploit it by appealing to Nevision rancor and to Nevision suspicion towards Thinkits. In other words, fair share has been used as an election stunt to rile up Nevisians into voting for a particular party. And that really does not make too much sense because this is 2025 and the matter has not been resolved. The people who spoke about fair share were in a federal government in 2015. As far as I know, the matter was never brought up in cabinet. That is what Timothy Harris said, anyway, Prime Minister Harris. It never was not brought up. If you campaigned on fair share, and we have to look into what they really meant by fair share, but just look at the expression. If you campaigned on fair share, why is it when you form the government and you are part of a government of national salvation and you know you are an important part of that government, why didn't you bring it up in cabinet? Why did not you have the matter discussed in the House of Assembly? It was never discussed. So the question is, was the CCM party serious about fair share? I cannot say yes because nothing was done. In fact, it seemed to me that basically if Nevis had a financial problem, the Prime Minister and the Premier will talk and monies will be made available. I don't know the exact figure, but I am told that some $5 million comes to Nevis every month. I don't know. I can't.
5.5 million.
5.5 million.
Yes.
And that was that arrangement. I don't know if it was a subsidy or if it was fair share or whatever it was. But then I'll go a step further. In 2020, when the government was elected again, and CCM had 5 seats from Nevis, why the matter of fair share was not brought up? I am not sure why the government fell. In fact, if I were to be an advisor at that time, I would have advised them to behave themselves and try to serve out the term. And if they had difficulties or they had differences, try to solve their differences internally. And certainly the matter of fair share should have been priority on the agenda. But I don't get the impression that the government fell because of fair share or anything. It seemed to have been problems of personalities. And that in itself is a problem for me because I question then the seriousness of politicians about fair share. Were they really interested? Because 2015, 2020, that was the best time that Nevis could have had an arrangement that was lasting, that was permanent, that was meaningful because they controlled the cabinet. They were in a position where they could dictate terms, and they didn't do that. So I am not sure that they were serious about it. In fact, fair share, it seems to me, was just to win a government in Nevis, and of course they succeeded. And today we are still faced with the problem.
But Joe, fair share can't just be about money. It has to be about other things, opportunities for to improve the economies on both islands, don't you think? For example.
Well, again, that takes me back to the very beginning, of course. Of course, but then you can't get away from the fact that to do any of these things, money must be involved.
That's true.
If you want to improve the economy, you have to have a good infrastructure. And that is where we have arrived. Now, if you want to promote your country internally, it's easy to do that. In terms of external investment, you have to have money to spend, to travel, to sell your country, to meet investors at different points and so on. So it's always about money. Now, what I'm going to say really has not too much to do with fair share. But certainly you can have joint promotions for tourism. You can have joint promotions for investment. You can look at how you can share facilities. For example, the airport in St. Kitts. do you want to have one airport? Do you want to have it expanded? And do you just want to use a ferry service, a quick ferry service over to Nevis? Or do you want to have two international airports? Those are issues that you need to look at and to work out how best you can come to an understanding that can lead to an economy that is integrated and can be to the benefit of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I'm happy with the matter of the airport. And I'm asking you the question from your experience and you as a former minister of tourism yourself. You see what's happening in Nevis. To now spend $40 million, $100 million on an airport in Nevis, when you say over visitors are not to any level that would assure returns on that investment. I mean, you look at St. Kitts, even St. Kitts itself. In St. Kitts, the SCASPA, the RLB is not self-sufficient in terms of raising its own revenue. So what do you think? Is that what's your reaction in that context?
Let me examine that situation in several ways. First of all, let me say, I hope that the government knows something that I don't know. That's the first thing that I have to say. I hope that they have some plan for the economic development of Nevis that I don't know anything about. I say that to say this, that if you're going to take a loan of over $100 million to expand the airport, you need to demonstrate the kind of economic activity that will lift the level of revenue that will allow you to be able to pay back that loan. Right now, the tourism season in Nevis seems to be flat. We don't have many stay-over visitors. The number of rooms they have might be under 400. I don't know if at any time those rooms are full. I would like to hear here that we are going to have a hotel with 120 rooms somewhere in Pennies, maybe over in St. James another one, and that these hotels will lift the income and revenue of Nevis to justify the airport. I don't want to say that you should have the horse before the cart or you're having the cart before the horse, but I need to be told a number of things. And up to now, I have not heard anything from the government. I just can hope that they know what they're doing, because the Nevis debt is already high. And you don't want to reach a point where all your revenue that you're raising is paid in debt, and you can't maintain your facilities, you can't push development in a positive direction.
Let's move to another issue.
Don't you have any comment?
Beg pardon? Beg pardon?
So don't you have any comment on what I just said?
Well, of course, I am cautious. I am extremely wary that you have two airports. You have an international airport in St. Kitts, and we haven't been told the facts about the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport expansion. We understand it's being done under the CBI. And the CBI is another issue which we won't go into detail, because I don't think you'll want to do that yourself tonight. But it's being financed under the CBI, under the public benefit option. But I don't know if it's, I've always heard his word bandied about bankable, right? If it's in other words, to get your return on the investment, you need to have hotel rooms and that are filled. That's especially for the airport as a scenario. Because you need to have over arrivals, and you don't have that in Nevis to that extent to recover and an $100 million loan. So to in St. Kitts, after the RLB and the SCASPAS joined in, the area supports were amalgamated in 1993, the airport till this very day cannot sustain itself because there's no stay over visitors at that level. When it was done in 1998, the prediction was we're going to have 400,000 passengers. Don't even have 180,000 passengers at RLB. And now here you have in Nevis, is it a competition? We don't know, right? But the issue is that you say using the ferries to come across. But what about bridging the islands? If you bridge the islands, the Nevis economy expands by 80% right away. Don't you think?
Ian, I'm not going to go there.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Let me explain something here. My understanding, it is not the construction of the bridge is the problem, It's the maintenance. The cost of maintenance against the raising of revenue by using the bridge. And so I really don't wish to go there on that tonight. I prefer to deal with issues that are immediate and that affect us at the moment.
Fine, and I respect that. So let's move in an immediate issue that will affect all of us, geothermal. And geothermal has been around in terms of its development for over 20 years. Lots of legacy issues, and you were there yourself. It perhaps started under your administration. Am I correct or not?
The talk about geothermal didn't start under my administration, but we were the ones who moved forward with it to a point where we were in touch with developers and we were in touch with the finance people, etc. And we were also engaged with the federal government via the Prime Minister.
Okay. So
to go further, I can tell you that we had 3 boreholes done on the island of Nevis, which indicated that the availability of geothermal power was high, and that it could be financially rewarding to Nevis. What we realized, however, that Nevis alone could not absorb the kind of power that would cause the geothermal to be profitable. Therefore, we opened negotiations with St. Kitts, serious negotiations between SCALEC and NEVLEC, between the Prime Minister and myself. And we had a number of agreements. For instance, we agreed that we will have an underground cable to take geothermal from Nevis to St. Kitts. We had a discussion as to the rate and what was, I wouldn't say agreed, but what was understood, that the same rate that was charged in Nevis would be charged in St. Kitts, except that St. Kitts would have to pay for the underground cable. There is where we were when the NRP lost the government. And so we were not in any position to discuss any further the development of geothermal. The government which I led did not feel that we could administer geothermal. We looked at it in terms of getting tax and being able to have somebody develop it, for them to pay so much money to the Nevis Island administration. I think we had a shareholding in there, I don't remember how much. And also that St. Kitts and Nevis will benefit from green energy and will attract certain forward investments, will attract certain grants, and it will help to develop the 2 islands. I think I wouldn't say the sticking point, but there was a concern and I discussed this with you earlier, that it was felt that if the geothermal was in Nevis, and if the control in terms of the underground cable was in Nevis, suppose there was a dispute, what would happen? Would the divisions just turn off geothermal and leave St. Kitts in darkness? That might sound a little petty, but I think it's a real problem for Kittitians and divisions. We were not able to go any further in terms of that discussion because, as I said, the government changed. But of course, I think common sense would have prevailed, and we would have found a way out so that both St. Kitts and Nevis could benefit from geothermal, and we could move forward. Now, the present arrangement, I am not sure. I'm going to comment here. If you look in the Constitution, you see that Nevis controls geothermal. My understanding is that the Prime Minister and the Premier have gone into the federal government and have made an agreement whereby geothermal is controlled federally. The people of Nevis have not been informed, so we don't know exactly what is what. I have heard myself, the Minister, speaking several times, and the way he speaks, I'm satisfied that he's in charge of geothermal. He has the various meetings with the outside investors. He chairs these different meetings, and sometimes the Premier is not even there. Now, we want geothermal developed. We want both Kittitians and divisions to benefit from it. But I would like to know, if you're talking about fair share, how do they intend to share the goodies from geothermal? How do they intend to share the revenue? Knowing that in the past, certain items have been kept by St. Kitts, like the land and housing, and the Nevis land and housing. Knowing that we have had argument over the citizenship program, although we should not have had any argument over that. How do we deal now with a resource that is essentially on the island of Nevis, should be controlled by the government, by the administration in Nevis, but somehow the federal government is intricately involved? Will there be any kind of revenue, specific revenue for Nevis because the power is on Nevis? Is it going to be per person, in terms of revenue sharing? It's a very intriguing situation, and I would really like to think that we should have some kind of public discussion so that everybody can be happy and everybody can be satisfied. Maybe this is the key to the solution of the fair share, this geothermal thing. That if we resolve that, we'll be able to resolve everything else.
Well, you actually framed the question and you answered the question very well. But here's what a member of the current NIA said about geothermal.
It will be an issue going forward as to the control of geothermal. It will be an issue going forward. My word. It can be a political issue going forward.
Let me put it this way. If any government in Charlestown were to hand over the geothermal project to Basti, that would be political suicide. And I put it as plain and as blunt as that, right? And I don't see that the political organization and the political party that I am associated with have any intention to carte blanche hand over this geothermal resource and this geothermal project to anybody in Basti. Right?
Okay.
And I am talking plain as I am looking at you. Right?
Good.
That will not happen with this CCM administration. That we are going to just hand over this geothermal. This is a partnership, and we are going to be treated with respect when it comes to this geothermal resource on the island of Nevis.
that's the tone, the content of that coming from the NIA member speaks volumes, don't you think?
I don't know. I don't know what to speak about because I'm listening to the Prime Minister. I'm listening to the Premier. And my understanding, Ian, is that geothermal is controlled from the federal level. I have not heard anything about any partnership. I have not heard anything about Nevis not handing over geothermal to the federal government. So all I can say is that the gentleman has a strong personal opinion, and if he finds that that what he thinks will happen does not happen, I hope that he will appropriately take action.
But the Prime Minister also said this.
Yet to implement, for example, geothermal. You know how much the geothermal cost? Total cost might be $400 million US. That's already, if you convert, that's already a big part of our total GDP. Just one project.
400 million US dollars. That's over $1 billion EC dollars. With all the legacy issues, how much confidence that one would have, we as citizens should have, haven't heard not a lot of things. Let's not lose sight of the fact that the demand in Nevis is about 9 megawatts. In St. Kitts, it's about 28 megawatts. Yes, the power is there, and there's a talk, what I call the interconnectivity unknowns of selling to other countries. But it's a tough decision to take, and we all want to go green. What do you think?
What I would say here is this.
And before you even say that, who pays, is a saying, who pays the piper calls the tune, isn't it so?
Absolutely. No, let me say this. I understand that CBI is not going to last forever. I even understand that the sums that are being raised now are in no way comparable to what it used to be maybe 5-8 years ago. Mm-hmm. These islands, in terms of economic development and sustainability, you cannot use tourism as the leader in terms of sustainability, because it is fickle. It depends on taste. It can be affected by natural activities, whether it's earthquake or hurricane or whatever. People might decide they want to go to Cuba, or they might decide they want to go to Hawaii, or they want to go to Barbados. They want to go somewhere else. The ships come and the ships go, Ian. But I have been Minister of Tourism in St. Kitts, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
You kind of base your sustainability and development on cruise tourism.
True.
In fact, it is more of a razzmatazz than actual income earning and funds to develop a country. The land-based tourism is what can take you there. But as I said, there are limitations. You need something like geothermal. And I would advise the country, notice I didn't say Nevis, I said the country. I would advise the country, whether it's $1 million or less, to invest in geothermal, because it is not only that you'll have cheaper power for both St. Kitts and Nevis, but you will be able to attract the kind of industries that are attracted to green power. There is a possibility, as you mentioned, of connectivity, and I don't want to go there. I just want to deal with the St. Kitts and Nevis situation. The type of industry that can develop both in St. Kitts and Nevis can make a big difference. along with tourism. But we cannot be totally dependent on tourism to take us there. So I would not even say that you're speculating or you're taking a chance. To me, is the way to go to take this country forward. And I would recommend it to everybody. All I'm saying, let's work out how the monies are going to be shared. Don't let's go down the road 5 years from now and start to quarrel over money. Now, the investment is heavy, Ian. It's very heavy.
$1 billion.
Yeah, it's heavy. And it has to be paid back. And the government will have to generate those kind of funds to pay back. And if the federal government is in charge, they certainly will want that the funds be used to pay back. After all that is done, though, I am interested in knowing how we are going to share the money. And I'm not being greedy. I'm not being obstructionist. I'm simply raising an issue that will be raised by the people in the future. And it's better to solve it now than to wait down the road to have confusion, especially if you have investment, if you have foreign investment, if you have the country growing, you don't want to have that kind of disturbance.
Certainly we don't want. And as you say, disturbance, the issue of the fair share, as we started, and I'm gonna open the lines because your time is coming nigh. And if you have just joined us, my Straight Talk family, we have on the program tonight a special guest and former Premier and former Federal Minister of Tourism, Joseph Walcott Parry. He agreed to be with me tonight, and I only for the first hour, but he also agreed to take a few calls. So I'm gonna open the lines momentarily. I always like to implore you that when I do, you will respect others, and of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. I expect that you'll be fair to all concerned, and the things you say will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, then let's ensure that we make a brighter, better St. Kitts and Nevis. And my Straight Talk family, the lines are open, the numbers are on your screens. 663, beg your pardon, 6672. And the overseas number 646-829-6672. Let's go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liebert.
Good night, my dear.
And good night to the Honorable Parry.
Joseph Parry, yes.
The quotation for tonight. A society that puts equality ahead of freedom will end up with neither equality nor freedom.
Will end up neither with equality or freedom?
Right.
Will end up neither with equality or freedom. Okay.
I repeat, a society that puts equality ahead of freedom will end up with neither equality nor freedom. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well. And that's coming from across the Narrows. We always get this quotation very early. A society that puts equality ahead of freedom will end up with neither equality or freedom. We go back to the lines and say, thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Brother Patches. Good night, the Honorable Mr. Parry. First time I ever seen you. My name is Winston. Welcome. And let me just say, I am one of the independent candidates for this coming election. I'm also 50-50 St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, I actually chime into the show a couple of minutes late. But as I listened to you, I am pleased to hear what I heard, and I agree with your perspective. But if I may get further, the argument now is about the fair share. It been going back since. I believe, okay, if it is 2 islands and 1 federation, as my mentor, Brother Patches, mentioned over and over, and I acknowledge that. If St. Kitts has, I'm going to just use a number. If St. Kitts has 300 citizens and Nevis has 150. Now, in any revenue, any investment, any industry discovered in the 2 islands, I think it should share equally, but per capita, per head, because natural resources, the citizens should have a fair, livable benefit, so to speak. So, if we could total the whole federation numbers, 300, 150, okay, that will be 450. Then we divide it. We divide the revenue by what's on St. Kitts and what's on Nevis, and the rest, the government will have to do the mathematics where the infrastructure going to be need to service. Each government has a burden to take care of their administration, and so on and so on. And the rest is profit, and that's something that could be a nest for the future moving forward. Because if Nevis have a disaster, there will be need of it. I'm talking about after per capita. We don't know what kind of disaster we will have. I think this fair share is an easy task, but we have personal vendetta in the mix, and we got to learn to come. We have to learn to get along with each other.
Okay.
So I will left it there, and I don't know if you have a spin on that.
Okay, Carla, thanks a lot. But there's a formula, Joe Parry. There's a formula. Perhaps you can explain it how it was back then.
Well, the formula basically is that you calculate the population of St. Kitts and Nevis based on the last census, and you divide the funds per capita, similar to what the gentleman suggested. And he suggested something else that is very interesting too. He said that you have to take into consideration the state of the infrastructure, which is something I mentioned at the beginning. And that to me was not done. Basically, I don't have any quarrel with what he was saying. The comment by the lady that if you stress equality, you'll never get freedom. Equality. It's a very profound statement. I would like her to develop it further.
Yes, well, a society that puts equality ahead of freedom will end up with neither equality or freedom.
Neither freedom or equal.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a profound statement, and I would like to have it debated. I can't accept it just on its face value.
Okay, we go back to the lines, and I'll thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Liebert. How are you?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
I am not too bad. I'm calling you from Barbados.
How's Barbados?
Very well, very well.
Okay.
I see you have former Premier Mr. Parry on the line.
Yes, he's on. Yes, he's on the program.
And I want to say good evening to him.
Good evening, sir.
And I have a question for you. It's in relation to geothermal. And I heard Mr. Parry's comments about the need for an agreement on how you would share the revenues of a prospective geothermal project in Nevis. And I wondered if Mr. Parry cares to share the experience in St. Vincent, where they were also pursuing geothermal, but which I think they have subsequently abandoned, and having spent allegedly several hundreds of millions of dollars exploring the commercial viability of that resource. And I just wondered what his thoughts would be on who would fund that loss in the event that it was not a commercially viable resource that could actually turn into energy. Have I made it clear?
Yes, he has, I am.
Okay.
And
sorry, I'll have Mr. Parry respond. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
thank you.
You know, that is part of the consideration, where some agencies are prepared to grant funds.
Yes.
To the point where it is determined whether it's commercially viable or not. At that point, then, we'll have to use commercial money. But before that, it's a grant program, so nobody would incur debt, and that makes sense in terms of the World Bank or the CDB bank or any bank helping to develop certain industries in the third world country.
Well, I think, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I believe, though, that the grant funding is just for the exploration drilling stage. And once you would have established the resource, then it kicks into a loan. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah, but isn't it, at that stage, you know whether it's commercially viable or not?
Right. That's right. So once they've established that, then it kicks into a loan.
Yes.
It's like having the carrot dangling.
I don't have a problem with that.
We go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straighter.
Mr. Straight, abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Yes.
How are you, my brother from another mother? How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
What can I say, man? So far, so good. It's going good. It sounds good. It tastes good. It eats good. Everything is good. Understand, my brother? Everything is good. I just want to address, I'm not going to take up no time. I just want to address our Mr. Parry. You can build a bridge and it don't have to cost you that amount of maintenance. The big bridge that they build in California, it costs maintenance because they put it up over the sea. But Virginia has a bridge run from Norfolk to, and it ain't costing nothing to maintenance because you build it out of concrete. And I don't know if Mr. Parry any one of you ever go across that bridge across I forget what is its name, but it's a massive structure they have there from in Virginia. Take you to Virginia less than no time, so you can build a bridge like that you don't have to maintain it because it's over the sea. But if you're going to put up iron rails on a bridge, you're going to have to maintain it because that's what happened to the bridge. That they have to maintain it 24/7, so they have a group of people there walking 24/7 on that bridge every day because of the sea blast on it. So that's what can happen there with that bridge in Nevis if they decide to really go to do something like that. It will pay for itself because I can just get up and say I'm going Nevis. I don't have to wait for no boat. And that's the thing, it will pay for itself. But you see, that's what we said before we could build a house. We said, but how you gonna maintain it? That means you don't want to build it because you think about, but you build and then say, listen, maintenance, everything gonna come together. It can work. Okay. Mr. Straighter, I'm gonna leave it there for now because I say my piece. I just want to let you know something. When I come back next week, I'll tell you what happened to Abracadabra. Okay. Mr. Straighter, I'll see you when I see you. Okay. Take care of yourself. Be good. Abracadabra.
Thank you, my brother. Any reaction, Joe?
I am not an expert on
Okay.
on technology of bridges.
Okay, let's go back to the lines then and take this caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening, Patches, and good evening to your guests.
Good evening, sir.
And good evening to the listeners, woman abroad. Yeah, this is Burl Jones. The guest is still on, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, let me make it clear who I am to him. I'm Burl Jones, the son of Vilmot Jones and Gwendolyn Jones, right there in the middle of Cotton Ground.
I know you.
Straight to him. I know we're talking about the fair share, but let me shoot off my comments or questions on the geothermal. Both of you gentlemen, Patches, and you can chime in on this too if you can. The clause 113 in the Constitution guarantees Nevis the right to go secession when they need to. With that said, right, I'm concerned about who will be controlling that geothermal, federal government or local NIA. And just to make it clear, the clip that you played, the listening audience got to realize that there's two gentlemen that spoke on that clip. One is not part of the NIA. That's Naya Liebert. Spencer Brand is a part of the NIA. So we got to differentiate that.
We said that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let's get past that now. Mm-hmm. So for the guests, especially the 113 clause, what is his opinion on that clause? Do we need to keep that clause there or we need to remove it? And who would he wants to see control the geothermal? Because it appears to me that the premier has switched in mid-year, and the Nevis people has to be clear on that because of that clause 113. Because as we know, when the president of the United States came into power, he was trying to get control back of the Panama Canal. And he did indicate that we need to hammer out these differences before we get any disagreements down the road. I did hear the guest said that as well. And the fair share, going back to the fair share now, right? He also indicated that as the Nevis economic grows, the situation changed. But just let me put the hypothetical in. Suppose there's a swell in the population on the Nevis side. Suppose, we just see like a 10,000 increase in like maybe some foreigners coming in. This is just a hypothetical. Then the population of Nevis will grow significantly, not just the economy. How would that arrangement changes? And going back to the fair share again, we saw that the now premier, he's complaining after that fair share came in. He's complaining about local numbers didn't come in on the Nevis side. I mean, whose fault is that? And also, Patches, I think your last show, there was an indication that the premier has said that there was no consultation on the Nevis side. And we asked the question, would the World Bank come to St. Kitts and only consult with the Jew administration on the federal side and not consult with the Nevis side? And lastly, let me leave it here with something kind of a little bit softer. Who was really the pioneer of this fair share? Because we're now hearing the guests saying it doesn't appear that Mark Brantley was. So we need to clear that up and get that clarification. And I'll leave it there for now, man. Thanks a lot. And also, let me crack on him before I go. This appearance tonight, is it an indication that you're coming back to take the premiership back? You're coming out of retirement? All right, Patches, man. That's it, man. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot. Yes, your reaction, Joe?
Yeah, lots of questions you raise,
Yes, well, handle what you can.
He asked about how I feel about 113. And I don't at the I don't want to see the clause removed at the moment. I'm not one who favors that. I'm not saying that it must be triggered. I'm just saying I don't want to see it removed. I think it was put there for a purpose. Maybe not just for the island to separate, but to make sure that things go a particular way. Now, he mentioned about fair share. The statement fair share started with Mark Brantley, of course. But the idea of a sharing between the islands was something that began with independence. It was not something new. It's just that he made an issue of it and used it as a political weapon. Now, in terms of who controls geothermal, that's not a decision that I can make. That is something that has to be determined over time in terms of who develops it, where the money comes from, who is responsible for the money going back. A number of issues there that I really am not in a position to deal with tonight. Yeah.
Would you say, and one can understand that, but saying in terms of the 113 clause, it left me in a state of ambivalence. Though you would like it there. Isn't this issue of fair share that would bring unity? As if one half of the federation is unhappy, then there won't be no unity. So I don't know if I understood you well, though. Maybe I did not.
Well, yeah,
in terms of keeping the clause. And as a matter of fact, I'm sorry to interrupt you. A matter of fact, if I recall, when the clause was triggered in, was it 1998? I don't remember the year. I don't think you supported it. Did you?
No.
Okay.
And I can explain myself. It wasn't that I was against secession, you know. It was a fatal mistake. Ian, we had one hotel on the island of Nevis. One hotel. Can anybody who is listening to this program convince me that one hotel can run a country? Absolutely not. Totally ridiculous and stupid. Basically stupid. And you notice the passion I speak with that. Totally stupid. And politicians who did that to the people of Nevis should have been kicked out, because the economy of Nevis was not in a position to sustain itself. And all that would have happened, that the people of Nevis would have been broke, people would have left the island, some of them would have come to St. Kitts, would have gone all over the place, and Nevis would have been empty. It was a ridiculous move, and I say it today, 2025, as I felt in 1998. I am not sure that the people who moved it even wanted secession. I suppose political opportunity. So my support or lack of support has nothing to do how I feel about 113. It has to do that I can never put the life of divisions in jeopardy. When I was a politician, when I was an active politician, I could never do it. I always put the people of Nevis first.
Okay, let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night.
Mr. Jamdown, good night.
Patches, good night.
Yes, good night. Good night, Miller.
How are you?
I am peaceful.
And
yourself?
how is Mr. Parry tonight, sir?
Doing well, thank you.
By Mr. Parry, that fellow over there, Mark Bradley, this man demonized young Karen Nevis. Everything you leave in place there, he tried to mash it up. You know? And you could see where the job is doing. He lost his way, you know, Mr. Parry. That young man lost his way. And the quicker Nevis young people them admire that and get the reader mark is the best thing for Nevis. And Mr. Parry, we at the Circus University here, Cecil Roberts University, we like to pose a few questions to you. One, we want to know if you improve, if you will support the bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis, because that is where we got to go to bring these two islands closer. Because that young man there trying to divide St. Kitts and Nevis in a smart way, you know. I mean, Patches, now that the man should begin a supposition, he look like he ain't doing nothing. He start to late.
What's the other question?
And he gave me a work.
What's the other one, John?
The other question, we want to know, why is it Mark, Mr. Parry, Mr. Daniel bought land and sell to Nevis people cheap, and this man buy land and building house and selling the people the land expensive. When Mr. Parry, when Mr. Daniel take up Nevis people money and buy the land cheap, and give to poor Nevis people. Why? Why? Mr. Parry, good night. And keep supporting Janice because we don't get to read them up. He have to go. Good night. Patrick.
Thank you very much. Andrew Parry, any response?
In the first place, talking about the land price, you have to blame the people of Nevis for that purchase.
Yes.
And they knew that they were getting the land cheap. And the CCM told them they'll get the land cheaper. And when the price went up, they did nothing about it. So sometimes politicians take advantage of people who are docile or people who would not defend themselves. And you can't always blame. People get the government that they deserve. So that is why I put the blame on the people of Nevis. In terms, what's the first thing he asked about? The bridge. Yeah. I am not opposing the bridge, I'm saying that just like we argued about the airport, whether it's economically feasible, you have to do the same thing with the bridge. You can't just say, I support it, it must be done.
Okay, I'll read this email and have you respond if you so desire. Having listened to Mr. Parry this evening, a thought crossed my mind which caused me to ponder. If all the projects in St. Kitts, such as the new prison, the Park Hyatt, the Ramada, Kittition Hill, the new Basti High School, the Creative Arts Center, the RLB Airport expansion, just to name a few, are funded by the St. Kitts Nevis CBI, then why similar projects in Nevis can't be funded by the CBI as well? Imagine Nevis has to resort to taking loans to fund the airport and hospital, etc. Then I have to ask, where is the fair share from our CBI? Is the CBI belonging solely to St. Kitts for the federal government to feast at the table while Nevis continue to be fed the crumbs from their master's table? Any reaction to that email, Joe?
I think it's a good one. There should have been certainly more CBI projects funded in Nevis. No doubt about that.
But there were quite a few, though, were there?
I don't know of a few. I know at the Bath, when I was in government, some funds were used to do some work at the Bath stream. As I said, I can't, although the Prime Minister then helped me with the NEDAX,
okay.
I claim that the funds came from the CBI.
Okay, and I believe the funds for the Munda track, for the rebuilding of the treasury, the rehabilitation of the treasury building, and many other projects came from the CBI. I stand to be corrected. But let's take this other call. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are they caller?
Yeah, Patches.
Yes,
Patches.
Yes, Jam. Go ahead.
Yeah. Megan. Mr. Parry. We want to know in Bastille when Mark doing the $500 and something million from the Unity construct. We want to know if that money spent in Nevis, our man do it wanted it. Because he's saying that he never used to get no fair share. But you're going to blame him fair share, Mr. Parry. Because a country say he wants fair share. No, you can't hear him. Because you got him in the pocket. So we are asking Mr. Parry to explain to us if he feels that money spent in Nevis. Because when I look at Gulf Park, I thought that he would do better with the money, Now I can do nothing. Have a good night again.
Okay. Any reaction, Joe?
I don't wish to speculate.
Okay, thank you. No.
I think I recognize the voice of the speaker, and he has his views, and he has a right to have them.
Yeah.
I'm not challenging his views, but I can't speculate because I don't have access to information.
Okay, before we wrap as well, the issue of His Majesty's loyal opposition, the leader is Mark Brantley. There is a view that the opposition is in coalition with the government. Is that a fair view? A fair comment?
I will answer you this way. It has never made sense to me that a member of the Nevis coalition serves as leader of the opposition in St. Kitts. I have been in government in St. Kitts. I have been in the opposition in St. Kitts. Neither Mark nor any other member of his team can understand the problems of St. Kitts like a Kittitian does. And they cannot properly represent the people of St. Kitts. And they do not. They do not even make an effort to represent them. And I think basically what they do, they become a thorn to the development of democracy. They prevent the people of St. Kitts from having proper representation. And they make it difficult for politicians in the opposition in St. Kitts to do what is necessary to represent their people. I have never agreed with it, and I never will. The Constitution needs to be changed.
Would you say that the federal elections are elections to elect a St. Kitts government? One of your compatriots said that.
Practically, it ends up that way. Practically it ends up that way because the bulk of the work that they do relates to St. Kitts. But of course, there are certain elements that have to do with the whole federation. The police, the army, the representation abroad, customs, some elements of tourism, etc., etc. Ideally, maybe it would have been good to have two governments, but maybe it's just too expensive to do. Okay. And talking about that, maybe it would make sense for both elections to be held at the same time. I don't believe in this old-time British thing where you call it when you want to. I believe a set date should be set. I mean, we're living in and it's ridiculous for the leader of government within St. Kitts or Nevis or anyway to be playing games with elections. It should be set, and the people should know that the election will be held at this particular time and prepare themselves properly.
Okay, we go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Yes, good evening, Patches.
Good evening, sir.
And I'm so glad you bring on Mr. Parry tonight. I don't know if you could have Mr. Parry. I think you remember those dark days, what the Labour Party of St. Kitts did to the people of Nevis. And I believe for those two islands, forget about Anguilla, that was a different case. To have real reconciliation, we got to be honest. Okay? And you get to the point, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, where the real opposition leader should be, Sean should be the real, the young man from Tabernacle, should be should be the leader of the opposition. There is no opposition in that cabinet. Okay, so I don't know if you could have Mr. Parry to give a brief history of the suffrage of the people of Nevis, what the Labour Party did to them. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Do you want to oblige, Mr. Parry?
I don't really want to dig up the past. We have gone beyond the days of Bradshaw. We have had Bradshaw. We have had Llewellyn, Llewellyn. What is Lee's name again?
Llewellyn Moore? Lee Moore.
Yeah. We have had Douglas, and now we have Drew. Sometimes you have to move on, you know.
Okay. So time to move on. Now, as we wind down, Joe, is now the issue of, let me take this call before I get there. Caller, you're live. Caller?
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Liebert. Good evening to Mr. Parry. This is Calicon Auntie. How are you, Mr. Liebert? How are you, Mr. Parry?
I am peaceful.
Hello? Yes, I'm glad to see Mr. Parry. Long time I haven't seen him. Since he out of office. Long time I haven't seen him until tonight.
Yes.
But what I want to say, Mr. Liebert, Mark Bradley and July, I think they have to go and they will go. The people are just waiting until election call. Because the power is in the people's hand. The power of the people's hand, put them in there, and the power of the people's hand can take them out. Every minute he wants to share, every minute this one here going in Parliament. I think sometime this week here he's going to have Parliament. What he going to say again? What he going to say?
Any questions for Mr. Parry?
Any questions to Mr. Parry?
Yeah, he's leaving me now, so.
Yes, no. I just want to know why Mark Bradley every minute he wants to share, and Dr. July he need to go because he and the cabal them they cannot run this country, Mr. Liebert. Okay. It needs honest people. Honest people could look to run this country. Think it could be better, think it could come good. But if these one must call them vagabond who don't want to run the country.
Okay. I got you.
Look, a lot of children need on vacation. And the mothers them bawling, say they don't have any money to buy the food, they don't have no money to buy school clothes for the children, them no book, no shoes, no uniform. But really going on, he used to give them the 250 job, he take it back.
Okay.
He talk about he rise up some kind of salary. He could have leave the people and salary like that, put back on the 250 and the 250, let the parents pick up whatever food stuff in those things for the children them.
Okay, thanks a lot, Calicon's aunt.
You get in touch. You get in touch with my brother?
Not as yet. Tell him to answer his phone.
Well, I spoke to him Saturday. I spoke to him Saturday. I told you what, don't get in touch with him.
Okay, no, I have not, but I'll try it before Thursday. But thanks a lot. I have Mr. Parry here, and he's past his bedtime, so I'll make sure that he gets to bed right. But thanks for your information. Mr. Parry, I know you perhaps will want to respond to that, do you?
And there's nothing there to respond to.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, as we wrap, because I did commit you would be here now, but the time has flown, and I don't think you have even recognized that or realized that, right? Or the calls are coming. Beg pardon? Say what? You're a politician. Okay.
I know you don't want me.
You knew that. Okay, you was trying to test me then. Okay, but as we let's take this call in since you knew that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Yes, caller.
Mr. Patrick.
Yes, sir. It sounds like the Bible man. I have a guest on tonight. Yes. So if you're going to provide a spiritual intervention, you have to give me from the book of Psalms.
And the book of Psalms.
Yes. And no song, just the Psalms.
No sermon.
No sermon today. Yes. Okay, you heard that, Mr. Parry?
What you said? I didn't hear.
Yeah, hear the word of God.
What you said to Mr. Who sent some message to Mr. Parry? You said?
Mr. Parry said. Hello.
Okay, he said hello. This is the Bible man. Yeah, go ahead, sir, quickly.
Yes, I know you really doing. I know you're supposed to call him today, but tonight, but I'm going to call him. Psalm 91 passage.
90 what?
Psalm 91.
91. The Lord is my light.
He that dwelleth
in the secret place of the Almighty,
of the Most High,
shall abide under the shadow of
the Almighty.
Okay, got you.
I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge. My fortress, in God will I trust.
Yes.
He that dwelleth in the secret place,
The Most High.
in the Most High, shall abide under the shadow of thy mighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge. My fortress, in God will I trust. Surely He shall deliver me from the snares of the fowler and from the knives of the pestilence. He shall cover me with His feathers. Under His wings thou trust.
Okay.
His truth shall be my shield and buckler.
Yes.
Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night,
no,
nor the arrows that fly by day, nor the person that walk in darkness, nor the destruction that come at noonday. Yes. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes thou shalt behold and see the reward of the wicked.
Amen.
There shall no evil befall thee, neither any plague shall come neither thy dwelling. That is me not preaching tonight.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. We always thank you for your spiritual intervention. You just want to say amen, Joe?
Amen.
Amen. Thanks a lot for your intervention. We go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your line. Hello, caller?
Yeah, okay. Patches, thank you for letting me come back in a second time. Quickly before we get off, we heard that during Team Unity, there's X amount of money that was coming over to Nevis, NIA. For the guests, we hear that in the region of $60 to $66 million. What kind of justice that money could have done to Nevis, especially to the infrastructure? And what another question is, and I'll probably leave it here, man. I got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of issues, a lot of questions, but I'm going to probably leave it here for the night. One last thing before he gets off, can he put a rating on the performance of the leader of Nevis as premier? And I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night.
And, you know, we sure, I will hope that we can look for a part 2, man. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good night. And to the guests, have a good night as well.
Thanks a lot. Is that something you like to respond to, Joe?
I did not get what he said, the last thing about Premier. What did he say?
He said he wants to give a rating of the Premier's performance, I think he's referring to.
What do you mean, Margaret Lee?
Yes.
I don't think that I would do that on the show.
Okay.
That is for the people to decide.
That's for the people, okay.
That's
as we wind down, and I apologize, I did in fact intended to keep to our commitment for the hour, but I'm sure you understood the people have missed you so much, so the calls are coming in. But as you wrap for tonight, Joe, getting back to the fair share and the issue of Nevis's fair share, I said before and I'll repeat it now and get your reaction to it. It is not just a government matter. It's a national one. Do you agree?
Yes.
Having agreed, do you believe that report should be shared?
Of course.
Okay.
I feel insulted, Ian, that my country is being discussed. Future of my children and grandchildren discussed. And I don't know. I can make a contribution. It's being treated like it's something precious that should be held close to the chest of only a few people. That does not make any sense.
It's offensive. Since you're here, we'll take these other calls. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Okay, so we agree that it should be published. I should have. I heard that laugh, so it's time for you to go. And I want to humbly apologize for keeping you over time, but you would recognize that how much you are in demand. So perhaps, just perhaps, we never know, we will have you, just perhaps, we may have you again. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How you do?
Was this the major?
Yes. I just want to tell you something.
The major, I
Yes,
don't know if you just woke up, right? You just woke up?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, I just, you know how it is, you know.
I have a guest on tonight. You know?
Yeah.
You know? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I have heard. What I want to say, I don't understand this. I up to now still can't understand with this facial business going on.
Uh-huh.
So what I know, when things don't go well, you know that when things go wrong, the first thing that we people say, that when things don't go well, many people like to quote that, well, boy, for the good things, if the good things ain't doing good, and because the things ain't doing good, they're making row. And this is what happening right now. This, oh my God, I can't understand. This fair share, what it means is that you had some money there, and because of that, you decide to share it equally. That's how you understand it. And because you did not share equally, you come back out and now say that you are your fair share. I don't understand up to now. I mean, I'm supposed to be a sensible man. What you understand? Up to now, I can't understand because each time you go there, fair share. How did fair share go? You promise people that you're going to give them, if you get $100, you promise that you're going to give them 50, and you keep the other 50. Tell me how we go now. You know
Major,
Tell me how we go. Tell me how we go.
they're asking for a share of what the revenue that's been generated, in particular by the CBI program.
Yeah. Well, what it is? What is fair share? What is the fair share? What is the fair share?
That's what we were just talking about in terms of, we haven't seen the report. We don't know what recommendations were made. The Premier said he wasn't consulted on one hand, and they have not really completed the analysis. So the questions are still to be answered. But as Mr. Parry was just saying, it's an insult to us as citizens and divisions that we can't see the report, and all we're demanding is accountability. I don't know if that answers your question.
We have to get that clarified. It needs to be clarified. This is going on for a very long time.
Yeah, forever.
And it's making people unhappy. It's making people unhappy. And not for me really, because I'm in the political arena. But at the same time, I'm a son of the soil. And this son of the soil, let us know what's going on, ain't it?
Right. Thanks a lot.
Let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Major Fallout. And that the point, Joe Parry, about transparency. Was it this way during your time in politics and in government? This governments just seem to be operating in the dark? Lack transparency, lack accountability?
If I may speak for myself as leader of the NRP and the government, we try to inform the public. And we start to have discussions with the public. Mm-hmm. I think things. I really can't. Maybe these two leaders can explain why the matter is so difficult for them. I get the impression that Drew is waiting on Mark, and I get the impression that Mark really don't want to have a discussion with it. I don't know. If I were Drew, I'll take the bull by the horns and go public.
Okay. One, as you wrap, Joe, and in the event you have just joined us, my Straight Talk family, I've had for the program tonight the former Premier of Nevis and former Federal Minister of Tourism here in St. Kitts, Joseph Walcott Parry. He promised to be here for 1 hour. He's here long past that, and we are thankful for his indulgence. But as we give him his final say tonight, and as that caller just said, the debate in terms of revenue sharing has gone on for far too long. Divisions, like petitions, divisions are not begging, they are asserting their rightful place, and we petitions and divisions are demanding accountability as well. But the future of our federation depends on trust, and trust begins with truth. So, and the lady from across the Narrows gave us this quotation tonight, just came back to mind. A society that puts equality ahead of freedom will end up with neither equality or freedom. So with those words as a point of departure, I give you your final moments, Mr. Parry, and thanks again for your indulgence.
Well, let me just say thank you very much for having me on your program tonight. We are discussing an issue that is very important to the whole country, to everyone in the country, and I do hope that sooner rather than later we'll be able to put this thing to bed, whereby both divisions and petitions would feel that they are being treated fairly in terms of revenue. Nothing is perfect. I don't expect there'll be a perfect solution. But once people are earnest in what they do, all should be well. I just have to say good night to the listeners and wish you on your program every success for the future.
And again, thank you, Joe Walcott Parry, for being with us tonight. The phones are going, but again, I feel bad. I did promise you the hour, and I've taken much more time, but I'm sure you'll understand. You are the one in demand, but thanks a lot for being with us tonight, and we trust you'll have the best of what's left of tonight and for the rest of your retirement. Remember, retirement has its roots in Spanish, jubilación. So just be jubilant, Joe Parry, and thanks a lot. And I trust and hope maybe one day we'll do it again. But have yourselves a wonderful night. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Yes. And my Straight Talk family, we've been listening, having a conversation with Joe Parry. We have a few moments remaining. I didn't really want to overdo it because he did, in fact, say he wanted to be here for an hour. And we took him long past that, an hour and 43 minutes. So, caller, I'll take a few more calls before we wrap. Caller, you're live. Are you there, caller?
Love, I'm greeting, Brother Patches.
Greetings, my brother.
Blessed night to you. I'm Fortuna Love, I'm greeting. Yes, greetings, I love. Fortuna Love, I'm greeting, Brother Parry. You realize me not call it Mr. Parry, I call it Brother Parry, because I'm in a slave trade name. But anyway, we all just want to have respect and love. I heard you make some indication to your brief remarks, Brother Parry, and you outlined something in the holy aspect of 1984.
I'm afraid
where you outline about.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rasaya, but Brother Parry has just left.
Well, don't worry that. I hope he could. I won't track him down and get talk to him because I like to challenge people with what they said. So, in the aspect of him making that statement, he said that Brother Simeon Daniel had a issue. Payment to the civil servant is something of that magnitude, and through that he was Minister of Finance in that time when that occurred. Well, on that aspect, I would like to know, with him seeing that situation occur to Brother Simeon Daniel, where is it that we really try to look at better negotiation to both islands to see how we could foster the betterment of the people development and not for personal development? That is my question, whether I would like to raise to Brother Parry, because this CBI program I outlining is a set of garbage. It's not for the well-being of St. Nevis people. is for the well-being of those who are captivated by the political eyes for their own personal greed. You are not done with them poison within the moment that we see when we say we're educating the people and only looking for the well-being of personal endeavor. This is not the way we need to go forward at development. I mean, not try to quote on Brother Parry, but I'm just saying for what I heard him say, it's a shame to see we're still in a mess like this. Being 84. You have a blessed night.
Have a blessed night as well, Ras Ayo. I've heard you for some time, but always good to hear you. Nonetheless, my Straight Talk family, and I trust and hope that let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Yes, caller, you live. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Seem to be freezing here on my screen as well. And I didn't really get to load that at soundbite before the program, and I didn't really want to do it at the time. But caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
The greetings, Brother Patches.
Greetings. Is that Rascal?
Yes, Rascal. Yes. You know, last week your program was very interesting, and this one is very interesting also. But you see what I'm saying to you, you outlined that Sinkits and Nevis and Guilo was put together in 1882, right?
Yes, by legislation.
You recall that?
Yes.
Yeah. But that was a colonial put together because of the power of England at the time. Mm-hmm. Because it was cheaper for them to administer them all at one. Mm-hmm. You know, because when we are separate, it's more expensive to our country. But when you bring them together, it's better that way. Now, the whole question about fear shield. What you want to tell me? That's what I keep telling you all the time here, Brother Patchy. We say that we're intelligent people. You know, we are educated. When we can't sit down around the table and trash out these things instead of going to the World Bank and the IMF. That's what I'm saying, because of colonial construct. We're still practicing colonialism. That is the problem. You're going to tell me, right? Do you know the question of secession between Sinkits and Nevis go back to 1887? A white gentleman from Nevis said that he has inherited the right to hate everything belonging to Sinkits, and he will willingly see a secession. In 1907 or 1908, something somewhere around here, there was a hurricane, right? Mr. Liebert, your namesake, was a member of the council, right? Mm-hmm. And he said that funds was supposed to use to build back the hospital in Nevis because the hurricane mashed up the Nevis. The hurricane mashed up the hospital in Nevis, and a tannery was next to it. So the scent was really messing with the patients. And I'm talking about 1908, 1907 here, around them time there, right? The money was used for something else in Sinkits. The whole beef between Sinkits and Nevis is a colonial one. And we politicians now in this day keep carrying on the same tradition. That's what I'm saying. We have not changed anything. That's why we got so much problems today. You see? So what I'm saying to you, when you know the history, you can't be fooled, because when we grew up in the 70s, the impression that we got that Mr. Bratcher was responsible for all the disquiet and discomfort between Sinkits and Nevis. Well, it's not so. You understand? So what I'm trying to show you that it's a colonial construct, and we continue the colonial legacy that England has put on us. You see, we need to sit down and trash out these things ourselves. We don't need to go to no colonial master or the World Bank or the IMF to do these things. Look what happening in Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger. They came together and it took them long to do that. We can't even sing it on Nevis and Anguilla and Mount Stratton and Antigua together.
Okay.
Because the colonial construct, we need revolutionary Pan-Africanism. And before I go, Brother Patches, I just want to inform the public again. Dr. Julius Garvey, the son of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, will be here in the Federation from the 3rd to the 7th of August. The Rastafari movement will be hosting Dr. Julius Garvey right here in the circus, in the African Square, the Cecil Moonlight Robert Square.
Okay.
We name it the African Square. Okay? So I just want to let you listening audience know that Dr. Julius Garvey will be here gracing us with his presence, and we are calling on the whole Federation to come out and join us on the 7th of August from 9 to 10.
Okay.
Give thanks. What Granny said, follow the leader. Abraham Show is the leader. Give thanks.
Give thanks. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Yes, Mr. Patches.
So?
Sorry I had to call back, but I had also to listen to that young man. I showed there is recording of Bradshaw that you could go back and listen to with what he said we're going to do to the people of Anguilla and do to the people of Nevis. There was no white man did that. Listen to their speeches out there. What he said he was going to do to the people of Nevis and the people of Anguilla. And you have a good night.
Have a good night as well. Thanks for your intervention. In fact, I recall it was the late Uriel Swanson did clarify that matter about the comments that Bradshaw made. I don't have time to pull up that soundbite, but it was, if I recall, it said it was Eugene Walwyn who said what Bradshaw can do, something like that. But I'll clarify that. And I wanted to play this earlier. I just pulled it up. I didn't want to distract my guest tonight, but here's what Sim Daniel had to say sometime before he died. Sim Daniel said this.
We have come a long way. We have come a long, long way. And even though we were in there with PAM and a coalition government and we were supposed to be working together, I cannot forget that there were days when we were low on funds and the government in Stinkit had 80% owner of the bank. And I was the one who passed the resolution in the House of Assembly for the government to get 80% control of the bank. And when we sent down our checks, they were told, we can't pay civil servants this month. Or we can't pay this week, you must wait till next week. These are coming from our friends. These are coming from our partners. These are coming from people we helped to put into government. And this is the way they were treating us.
And that was Simeon Daniel speaking about the treatment he got, even though they were part of a coalition government. As we wind down tonight's program, and I'll dispense of my emails, someone drew my attention to a post purported, orchestrated by a former Country Federation Commissioner, in which he claimed that there has never been a government in this country that has ever had so many projects undergoing under 3 years as the current Labour government. My first reaction was that the commissioner is ill-advised, out of touch, and singing for little supper payment he's getting for his membership on the Public Police Service Commission. If he was honest, unbiased, and unpolitical, he would realize that Team Unity had several projects going within the corresponding period. However, I will maintain that there is no other project that can be compared with the old Road Bay project, which far supersede all of these intangible labor projects the Commissioner is talking about. Open your eyes, Commissioner, and be honest. Read this email. Let's go to the lines and say thank you to this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patches, greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
And how are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm very good myself. It's good to hear Mr. Parry version. The version was a very lively version and very straight up. And when I see him in the t-shirt that he has on with the black streak on the neck, he reminds me of him being a cricketer in Warner Park in the days of he and Mr. Emery. Yeah, he looked very, I must say, sportish, so to speak. And he dwelt himself into an arrangement of topics, which was very good. And he talked about the interstructural problem. And what he laid out tonight show you where we as educated people, if we put ourselves mindfully on the issues, we can solve them because the problem is right before us. And him talk about the layout from Simeon Daniel years ago. I mean, why the Nevision politicians didn't really reinforce some of what Mr. Daniel had laid out years ago that can generate the development about countries. And it goes how he lamented too on Mr. Brantley. Because I always say the same thing with Mr. Brantley. Mr. Brantley, sometimes I can't even differentiate him at all. And if we don't continue to say, well, everything is colonial construct, we know those things, but we in charge of our affairs. So we mustn't put ourselves into judgment when it comes on our own affairs to say if things go right or things go wrong. Mr. Parry also talk about when it comes to geothermal, ask the question how the money would be pay back on all those kind of things. These are fundamental questions and reasoning we can back off. And as we still talk about, no problem going to the World Bank for an answer, because sometimes we can't trust ourselves. So if sometimes we can get an independent answer, what we say? It's colonial? Come on, we got to be mature in dealing with the issues that confront us at the back today. Otherwise, we just bury ourselves. Mr. Parry, Mr. Eli, but you continue to be strong and keep the education going forward. That is what we're going to liberate our people. Education. Give thanks.
Thank you, my brother. Always happy to hear from you. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Okay. This is me again. I just want to make sure that remember I spoke to you that when things don't go well, things happen. But all I am saying is it has to be honest. It has to be straight up, because God is a man who will help us in our trials. That is, God is things ain't going well because there's problems. And all we have to do is to the Heavenly Master who helps us in our problems. You understand me?
Yep.
Yeah, because, after all you after feedback and so on, I don't want to say anything about it. But all I'm saying that when things don't go well, we always say, we did. Why what things ain't going well? We mumble all over the place. Things ain't going well. When things ain't going well, let me say to the master, your sister, isn't it?
Yep.
Because it's funny, isn't it? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, if things ain't going well, God always has good purpose for us. Once things ain't going well, God always has good purpose for us, Patches. And I'm serious about that. Because I'm studying the soil,
And things ain't going well, I don't want to stop in any place. Understand me?
Right.
So we have to look for the evidence to understand what things ain't going well. Things ain't going well. And we got away that things ain't going well. And what we do, we add in on it. We add in on it. Things ain't going well. Something making noise, something. It's not in different people. Come on.
Okay.
Come on, Pat.
Yes.
It's just like stupid. Right? You understand?
Understand you fully well, Major. Things are not going well.
Things ain't going well. We have to come to the master. Everybody saying, one person saying this, one person saying this. Let me talk to some to understand and get things done.
Okay.
If money is supposed to be given, share it. As you say, make it equally. Everything's to go paid equally. Tell you, well, it's $100 I have, $50 for you. If you say that we give you a percentage, it has to be an agreement, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
It has to be an agreement. It has to be agreed upon. That would mean somebody says this, they walk face it. And it looks just stupid. A beautiful country like this.
Thank you, Major.
Let's get
Yes, you're so correct, Major. I said you're so correct. Let's get it.
Yeah, we have to make agreement now. We have to make agreement. Yes. If anything to be signed or whatever, we don't want nothing robbery. We want something in writing. Right? No robbery. Because once you make a robbery agreement, it's all me and yourself, you know. Yes. We could change it tomorrow, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay, let me get something right. Let's make something right. Let us know what's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Major. Things are not going well. Well said. Patches, good night, Maestro. I am going to say it early. All of them Labour politicians are immoral maggots. The rodents called them in and threatened them. Yes, I said it. The Chinese told them, come and see us. Steamer gone to boat, not the other way around. Patches, these Chinese don't do a thing for us. No sponsors, no promotions, nothing. And now they make laws, life in prison. If you rob those robbers, Patches, it is time we hit the streets for real against them small boys in Church Street and their rodent friends. Good night and God bless all. God bless as well. As much respect reads this other email. This email reads, we have some bad maths here. Please help us understand, because it seems like the government is just not interested in talking to us dummies. One project costing over $1 billion. The $1 billion spent, is it meant to supply power at a cheaper rate? And if so, how will that over $1 billion be recovered? With cheaper power, what kind of industries will we be attracting? It appears as though our leaders are setting up the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to be second and third class citizens in our country. So many fundamental things there to address, and these emotional leaders governing with ego want to hang that around our necks and that of our generations to come. We would like to make it clear, we are for renewable resources and desalination and sustainability and all those green solutions, but we need to time these things properly or they become nooses around our necks. And that's our final email for tonight, my Straight Talk family, as we wrap tonight's programming. Just to say, again, thank the Honorable Joe Parry for joining us and imparting his wisdom here tonight. And just in closing, to add that this issue we raised tonight, and we asked the question, why, after so many decades, why this issue of Nevis's fair share remains unresolved? It spans over 4 decades, 4 premiers in Nevis and 4 prime ministers, and this matter is still not resolved. And we ask why. And this is not a division issue, I must repeat. This is a national issue. Because when any part of our federation feels neglected or ignored or ill-treated, the whole nation is weakened. When fairness is denied, unity becomes fragile. So my Straight Talk family, as we say goodbye tonight, we trust that the recommendations are grounded in data, in fairness and sustainability. But the recommendations alone are not solutions. And solutions require political will, dialogue, and most of all, action. So my Straight Talk family, it is the government's primary source of funding for public service, infrastructure, and social programs. That's our non-tax revenue. But what is required? What is required is a formula that is just, that is constitutional, and that is necessary for long-term equity and stability of the Federation. Until then, we'll be asking the same question for decades to come. We'll ask it for decades gone. We'll continue to ask the question, why? Why? We ask my Straight Talk family, why? For decades, the issue of Nevis's fair share remains unresolved. And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank all of you who were viewers tonight, those who listened, those who sent emails, and those who called. We thank our guest, Joseph Parry, for spending precious time with us tonight. And I should have said, first of all, we must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight and as always. And until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, we got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. My Straight Talk family, until we connect, my Straight Talk family, be good. Do things in moderation. And I'll tell you one more time, keep moving on until we connect on Thursday. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family. Bye-bye.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light.